Swadika, good morning and welcome to Newsline. I'm Cholapansan Arula. Thank you very much for being here with us, watching us through NBT, NBT World, and also our listeners on Radio Thailand FM 88. It's a rainy Monday, October 12, 2015, and let's have a look at today's top stories. In today's Thailand Moves Forward, the Prime Minister has expressed concerns over the outbreak of dengue fever in the country. Major General Sansern Kamnerd, spokesman of the Prime Minister's office, has quoted a Public Health Ministry report as saying more than 80,000 people across the country, mostly in central and northeastern Thailand, have been infected with dengue virus as of October 2015. Major General Sansern said that with heavy rains and floods in the country during the past several weeks, many areas in the two regions mentioned have become breeding grounds of mosquitoes within the genus Aedes. And because many areas are still expected to experience more downpours, even though the rainy season is nearing its end, mosquito breeding sources are likely to expand. Therefore, General Prayut Chan-o-cha, the Prime Minister and Chief of National Council for Peace and Order, has instructed local health and government officials to keep a close eye on the outbreak amongst the people and give the prevention system the top priority. On rubber prices, government spokesman Major General Sansern Kamnerd has pointed out that rubber price drop in the global market has delayed orders from other countries for Thai rubber. He also confirmed the government is paying attention to rubber farmers' problems. Major General Sansern said that the government was solving problems of all groups of farmers, not only rubber farmers, in a sustainable manner. Aimed at strengthening the Thai agricultural sector, the government's assistance measures for farmers included lowering the cost of production, promoting technology, finding markets for them, and subsidizing rubber prices. The government had continuously launched short-term measures to help rubber farmers. Rubber farmers earlier demanded that the government subsidize rubber prices and delay the deforestation of rubber trees according to its forest preservation policy. They threatened to rally if the government refused to abide by their demands. The government spokesman added that the government was expediting the enactment of the Rubber Authority of Thailand Act BE 2558 and the allocation of funds to provide welfare for rubber farmers for the first time in Thailand. Members of the National Reform Steering Assembly are scheduled to meet for the first time this week when they will also elect the Assembly's president. National Reform Steering Assembly member Alongkorn Polabut said that the Assembly will convene its first sitting on Tuesday, October 13th, when the agenda is set to include the election of the NRSA president as well as two vice presidents. Mr. Alongkorn said that a nominee needs an endorsement from at least 10 NSRA members in order to be eligible to contest the position. He added that other matters on the agenda will be the setting up of a committee in charge of drafting the NRSA regulations and appointing a temporary whip who will be in charge of reviewing the drafted regulations and coordinating with the National Council for Peace and Order, the National Legislative Assembly, and the Constitution Drafting Committee, as well as the Cabinet. Meanwhile, the Constitution Drafting Committee is set to work on details of each article of the Constitution draft. CDC spokesman Amon Wanit Biwat reported that the CDC has been able to lay down the framework for the drafting of the new charter according to Article 35 of the 2014 Interim Constitution and the 5 guidelines proposed by the National Council for Peace and Order. The CDC spokesman believes that the committee will be able to work on the details of the content of each article, as members of the Council of State are almost done with drafting a framework. Mr. Amon said he does not know the details of the new draft charter as yet. However, he expects it to be similar to the previous charter. The committee has agreed to make the draft charter more concise in accordance with the NCPO's policy. The Ministry of Public Health has cooperated with relevant sectors in developing the 2016 to 2019 Global Health Strategies with the objective to ensure health security for Thais. These strategies will be submitted to the Cabinet for consideration soon. Deputy Permanent Secretary for Public Health, Dr. Surya Wongkongkhathep, said that the 2016 to 2019 global health strategies were the first in Thailand and the first of its kind in developing countries. They are aimed at giving Thais good health and protecting them from health threats. The strategies also seek to promote Thailand to play a leading role in global health arena and ensure conformity between Thai and international health policies. The strategies were expected to help boost Thailand's image in the international community. The Deputy Permanent Secretary added they will be submitted to the Cabinet in November 2015. The Ministry of Tourism and Sports has voiced its confidence in its target as seen from the growing number of foreign tourist arrivals in October. Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Tourism and Sports, Pongpanu Sawetarun, said the number of foreign holidaymakers coming to Thailand in the fourth quarter was expected to hit 7 million, with the Chinese as the biggest group of foreign tourists. The overall tourist arrivals is likely to reach the target of 28 million this year. To bolster the country's tourism sector, the ministry has designated 5 tourism development zones in the north, east, west, northeast and south to highlight their cultural and geographical features. The northern tourism zone will be the center of Asian culture. The western zone will be the destination for health tourism. The eastern part will be the hub of agro-tourism. Coastal and marine tourism will be the focal point of the southern zone, while cultural diversity will be the selling point of the northeastern region. Moving on, the Center for Economic and Business Forecasting of the University of Thai Chamber of Commerce, or UTCC, has predicted that an economic upturn would be noticeable later this year. Thanawat Ponvichai, Director of the Center for Economic and Business Forecasting, said that the economic recovery was attributed to the government's economic stimulus measures, such as the allocation of the 5 million baht fund to each district, the support for small-scale investments, and tourism promotion campaigns. These schemes are expected to generate 50 to 70 billion baht in circulation between October and November this year. As for the 13th until the 21st of October, which is the Vegetarian Festival, the Centre estimated that spending during this period of time would rise slightly by 2.9% as the public were more careful with their money. The festival would create 41 billion baht in circulation, he predicted. Meanwhile, foreign countries are likely to experience an economic slowdown despite their ongoing economic stimulus measures, except for the United States of America. The International Monetary Fund, or IMF, and the World Bank predicted that the global economic growth would drop below their estimate. The Federation of Thai Industries, or FTI, has reported that the automotive sector's production has increased, but domestic sales have dropped. Deputy Chairman of the Federation of Thai Industries, Surapong Phaisit Pathanapong, said that the overall Thai automotive industry, in terms of production, in the first 8 months of 2015 improved compared to the same period of last year. The production grew by 1.3%, but domestic sales contracted by 15%. Car sales in the first 8 months of 2015 stood at 492,000 units, making it impossible to meet this year's target of 850,000 units due to the dropping in purchasing power in Thailand. This year's sales will likely stand around 750,000 to 800,000 units. Mr. Surapong, however, said car exports still expanded well and would likely achieve this year's target of 1.2 million units. The Bangkok Metropolitan Administration, or BMA, will begin levying a 5% duty on petrol and natural gas for vehicles from the 15th of October onwards. Deputy Bangkok Governor Jumpon Sampaupon said all gas station operators across the capital city were directed to submit reports of their monthly sales volume to district offices or the BMA Finance Department by the end of October. The operators are required to pay the tax before 15th of November. Operators failing to inform authorities of their monthly sales or who fail to pay the required amount of tax will have to pay a further amount of 1.5% of the duty they were supposed to pay originally. Those failing to submit their sales reports within the deadline will face a fine of 10,000 baht or a jail term of 3 months or both. Service station operators in Bangkok sell around 10 billion litres of gasoline per year. The new tax scheme will enable the capital city to earn another 500 million baht in revenue. The SME fair at Padung Krung Kasem Canal near the Government House has continued to attract crowds' attendance, with the market offering exclusive services. The public has continued to attend and buy products available at Thailand's SMEs fair near the Padung Krung Kasem Canal. The most popular section of the fair was where food from the 4 regions were being sold. Exclusively, fortune-telling services and other interesting activities and performances are also available at the fair. Those interested can visit Thailand SMEs Fair until October 25th between 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. at Padung Krung Kasem Canal Market, located near the Government House. Once again, the fair ends October 25th. Heavy rains in the northern province of Chiang Rai have caused flooding in several areas of the city centre. Roads in Chiang Rai city have been flooded after continuous downpours that have struck the city and carried on overnight. Water levels in flooded areas have risen as high as 30 centimeters in some spots. Commuters have been facing difficulties on the road, especially those traveling in small vehicles. However, authorities expect the situation to return to normal by tonight, as no heavy rains are forecast for today, and water is being drained to the Kok River as well as other waterways. In Bangkok, meanwhile, it's predicted that we'll see more cloudy skies today and tomorrow, with some wet weather expected as well. So do have your umbrellas handy. And that's it for Thailand Moves Forward. We'll now take a quick look at the exchange rates and also commodity prices. We'll then take a break, and Newsline will return with more ASEAN news. The Chamber of Commerce has hosted a seminar to prepare SMEs for the Special Economic Zone. That's coming up right after these messages.
To maintain a strong nation, Thailand is promoting 12 core values for the good of the people. The 11th core value: keeping physical and mental strength, unyielding to evil powers or desires, having a sense of shame over guilt and sins in accordance with religious principles.
Welcome to ASEAN, a community comprised of 10 countries, each with its unique culture and history, now unifying to bring added prosperity to the region. For centuries, each country remained independent, but now we are coming together to compete in the 21st century globalized world. ASEAN is bringing together more than 600 million citizens and a total land area of 4.4 million square kilometers, and is providing economic opportunities, trade, travel, and new educational possibilities. The combined GDP of all 10 ASEAN countries comes to a total of $2.4 trillion, which means the ASEAN entity ranks amongst the world's major economic powers. The future is here. Welcome to ASEAN, the community of opportunities. The Southeast Asia region is now becoming one.
How could you do that to me? Stop it! Huh? Don't you get it? I don't need you anymore. Enough! We're through. There's someone else in my life.
Say no to the past. Bring your own bag. Say no to plastic.
ASEAN Socio-Cultural Community. due to recurring natural disasters in the ASEAN region. The ASEAN Committee on Disaster Management has become the main authority to coordinate emergency help during disasters. Moreover, there is background of cooperation in terms of environmental sustainability and restoration of natural forest land to reduce the impact of disasters. One vision, one identity, one community.
Multiple perspectives, insightful commentary on Thailand with The Insider every Sunday morning at 10:30 on NBT and NBT World.
Welcome back. You're still watching Newsline. The Trat Chamber of Commerce organized a seminar on the weekend to help local SMEs prepare for the opening of the Special Economic Zone. Trat Governor Kun Chana Iem Sang on Sunday chaired the opening of the seminar, which was organized to prepare small and medium-sized enterprise operators in the province for the launch of the Trat Special Economic Zone. The seminar, which was jointly presented by the Trat Chamber of Commerce and the Trat City Hall, as well as Than Serakit newspaper, saw a big crowd of attendees who were themselves either SME operators or interested members of the public. Chairman of Trat Chamber of Commerce, Uthai Tanchai, said that the session had been planned to offer knowledge and information that will be useful in operating businesses when the province becomes the host of a special economic zone ahead of the start of ASEAN Economic Community at the end of this year. A suicide car bomber targeted a convoy of foreign troops in the Afghan capital during rush hour traffic on Sunday, flipping an armored vehicle on its side, but the number of casualties was unknown. Taliban insurgents claim responsibility for the attack in the city center, which broke a period of relative calm in Kabul after a series of bombings in August. TV footage showed an armored vehicle on its side as Afghan security forces cordoned off the street in the Joy-Shir neighborhood. Najib Danish, deputy spokesman for the Interior Ministry, said the suicide bombing was targeting a foreign forces convoy in a crowded part of the city, adding that there were casualties. He did not specify whether there were casualties among the foreign forces. The headquarters of the International Resolute Support Mission in Kabul did not immediately confirm details of the attack, but a spokesman said it was verifying reports. The Taliban insurgents fighting to topple the foreign-backed Kabul government claimed responsibility for Sunday's attack, saying it killed a number of foreign troops. The group typically inflates casualty figures they inflict on Afghan and coalition forces. The attack came during a period of heightened tension following intense fighting between government troops and the Taliban around the northern city of Kunduz, which fell briefly to the insurgent Islamist movement at the end of last month. Fighting between government forces and Taliban continues on the outskirts of Kunduz. As refugees continue to arrive on the Greek islands on their journey towards Western Europe, the UN High Commissioner for Refugees says the crisis is a problem not only for Greece, but for all European states. UNHCR's Antonio Guterres on Saturday visited reception centers on the island of Lesbos, the main entry point for most of the 428,000 people who have crossed the Mediterranean from Turkey so far this year. Almost 3,000 have died, the UN Refugee Center estimates. Authorities on the island say they are running out of room to bury them. Many of the arrivals are Syrians, Afghans, and Iraqis fleeing war and persecution. The number of refugees arriving on Greek islands has leapt to 7,000 a day from about 4,500 at the end of September, probably because of fears the weather will worsen soon, the International Organization for Migration said on Friday. The sharp increase in a matter of days has come as European states continue to struggle to agree on a strategy to control the flow of people and protect thousands making perilous or dangerous sea crossings. IOM said it expected the elevated rate of 7,000 arrivals a day would persist as long as the weather held out. Senior Communist Party of China, or CPC official Liu Yunshan, attended activities marking the 70th anniversary of the founding of Workers' Party of Korea, or WPK, in Pyongyang, capital of the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, on Saturday afternoon. Invited by the Central Committee of the WPK, Liu, member of the Standing Committee of the Political Bureau of the Communist Party of China, or CPC Central Committee, led a delegation to visit the DPRK since October 9th. He watched the huge military parade and mass pageant at Kim Il-sung Square with the DPRK top leader Kim Jong-un, marking the 70th anniversary of the founding of the ruling WPK. On Saturday, a torch performance was given by groups of young students who marched past the square, waving torches in their hands, chanting, "Invincible Party, Loyalty to Party." Kim Jong-un and Liu Yunshan also attended the event. Liu met with Kim Yong-nam, president of the Presidium of the Supreme People's Assembly of DPRK, on Saturday morning. They exchanged views and reached extensive consensus on inheriting and carrying on the China-DPRK traditional friendship while developing the friendly ties between the two parties and the two countries. During his visit, Liu visited the Kamsusan Palace of the Sun and presented flowers to the statues of the two late leaders, Kim Il-sung and Kim Jong-il. He also visited the Memorial Museum of the Victory of the Fatherland Liberation War in Pyongyang. He stopped at the exhibition hall of the Chinese People's Volunteers to recall the history of the CPV fighting side by side with DPRK's army and people 65 years ago. Liu visited the Cemetery of Martyrs of the CPV in Anju, South Pyongyang, on Sunday morning, presenting a basket of flowers and paid silent tribute to the martyrs. Liu said in a speech that on behalf of the CPC, Chinese government and the Chinese people, as well as the General Secretary of the CPC Central Committee, Xi Jinping, he mourned the martyrs of the CPV who were buried in the DPRK. And that's it for today's edition of Newsline. Thank you very much for joining us. If you do have any comments or suggestions, please feel free to email them to us at newsline.nbt@gmail.com. Today we end with showing you some pictures of a wife-carrying competition in North America. Salutes to the husbands. I'm Chalapan Sanarula. We'll see you tomorrow. Swadee ka.